Good morning, Adele and Crystal and Haupt.
Morning. How are
How
you
are
today?
you? I'm good, thank you.
Good,
Morning.
good.
Am I looking like Sunil?
Is there a problem? Has he got problems?
Yeah. He's had no power since 7 o'clock last night, and everything's dead and there's nothing. Well, he's actually had no power since like 4 o'clock yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
There's some big fault on the system or something.
Yeah.
And my son in Joburg, they were without water as well for a whole day, and then without electricity since it was 5 a.m. on Wednesday, and it came back on last night. It's just everything's
yeah, it's hard. And then, you know, you think it's load shedding, and then it just goes on and on and on and on, and it becomes not load shedding, becomes some sort of fault.
Yeah,
Messes
you
with
don't
everything.
know in the beginning. You're right.
Yeah.
Ladies and
You
gentlemen,
said yesterday evening he's already used up all his power banks and everything, you know, to keep business going. Yeah.
I need to tell you what you need to get yourself and invest in. It's an inverter. We just had the
I
same
have an
conversation.
inverter.
We had this conversation a few moments ago,
Yeah.
and let me just show you. My wife needs to work. Hopefully I can switch this camera around. Not okay. Yeah, it's not working. I'll take a picture and show you guys. But what we did was we have this inverter, and she can run a computer on there for more than 8 hours, 12 hours a day.
Yeah. For us at my house, I have an inverter. So if the load shedding comes on and stuff, I can run most of my stuff for most of the day. I don't have that. I don't have that problem. But Sunil's got I think he's only got power banks by the sounds of it, and they ran out. So, you stuck with me. I'm sorry. I'll try and be nice on a Friday.
Fabulous.
On a Friday.
Shari, I've been wanting to ask you, where are you based? Are you
In Howard.
Okay, I thought it was local because I'm in Hilton, so we must actually get together sometime. And
I was thinking yesterday that we should have coffee and stuff
yeah,
together. Yeah,
because I'm also in Hilton, so that would be great.
cool. Yeah, we must make a time to get together and support like the Joburg people are doing.
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
That would be good.
Yeah, it's nice to feel sort of part of a group or a team. I don't know what to call it, in person, because I think we also missed a lot of that. Yeah, with all the lockdowns, etc. It became normal to just see people on a screen, and to be face to face. It's always just adds that little bit extra.
Yeah, there is that much better to be face to face in person. You can do that much better.
Put my video on, but I haven't.
Better energy that flows when you're face to face.
Yes, much better.
Absolutely, I quite agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're getting experts at watching body language between like the head up, but you don't get all of it.
We're becoming voice experts in that stage, because now you have to listen to the person's voice, and sometimes they don't have a camera, so you need to listen to their voice and the emotion in their voice.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
That's also why with messages. Sorry.
Yeah, it's amazing how we can adjust.
I was going to say, sometimes things can really go awry with just sending a message on, say, WhatsApp. Somebody can totally misinterpret the message. Meanwhile, if you had actually just seen the person face to face, or even sent a voice note where they can hear the tone of your voice, it's always much better. Sometimes the words just come out harshly, when meanwhile that's not the heart.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. I've experienced that before. You send a message or an email and they come back and you're like, Yeah, no, that wasn't what I was saying. It's much better. It would have been much better if you just picked up the phone, because you have to pick up the phone
Yes.
anyway and correct it. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's some benefits and there's some difficulties, with all this online stuff. I teach mainly online now. I have two clients that I do in person at the moment, but the rest are all online. But I do make a time with the local ones. When I say local, like between here and Durban, to see them at least every so many months in person, so that we can kind of try and keep things together and keep the team building effect together.
Shari, I wanted to say your little advert on your business with the little doodles, or what I think you sent it on the Women in Business. It came up very nicely with advertising your business, but that little doodle, those pictures and everything that get drawn. Where did you?
The one about the golden rule. That one.
Yes. Yeah.
I do that on Doodly.
Okay. Wow.
The program called Doodly. Yeah.
Very effective.
We use it for short training clips. Normally, if we want to get a point across, then we add that into our presentations. Then it helps.
Lovely. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it helps a lot. It's a great program called Doodly, and a number of years ago when it first came out, I bought a lifetime access to it. So all the updates and stuff I get, which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's some amazing tools out there to do some incredible things, really.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just to get all the time and the cohort together, right?
Yeah.
To put it all together.
And the patience.
But I found that, not trying to do it all at once. So we don't try and change our presentations all at one go. We change an element at a time, so that each time I do it, it's a little bit better, and then eventually over time, I've got a really good interactive presentation. But I don't try and take all my old teaching stuff and update it all in one go. I'll spend months trying to do that.
Yeah.
But I take every time I've got to present it, then I try and make one element that much better, and it works so much better. It's the same with social media. I don't try and change everything, but every time I go on, I look at the platform I'm on and I try and update something, make something better, or add something that adds value, or do something that much better. I don't have the time, and I don't have the patience to sit and make something that's perfect from the start. I'd rather better it as I go along. I wasted too many years doing that. I don't anymore. So if I'm going to do a Facebook post, I create the post and I put it out there. And sometimes if I go back and I see something that's wrong or whatever, I'll edit it and I'll change it. I've put something out there, and I try and I get better at it. You get better at not having to edit things and being able to do things faster. And Canva is a wonderful tool to help you do that. It really is good.
Well, I look forward to that Canva interaction. I might not call it a training, or I can't remember what you call it, but yeah, the Canva.
It's just a session, because they have every second week they have an online session for the Women in Business members, and somebody presents something. So it's either a motivational thing or a skill to help or an experience that they've had or a success that they've had. But they'd asked me to just start here with helping people to, be able to use Canva to help brand their organization, because it has a free section, because it has a free platform that anybody can use.
That's great.
Shari, that's an interesting statement you made about changing one element. I tend to feel for myself that there's a lot of times where you feel you need to redo everything, and then you sit and you waste so much time by redoing everything. That's where you can just get feedback and change one element at a time. And I love that. That's actually fantastic feedback to get from someone, or just changing one thing a day, or if you have spent 10 minutes, just change something and then carry on, and then tomorrow, because that tends to create procrastination as well.
Yeah, I got stuck in the cycle of, because I like things done well, and I got stuck in the cycle of, oh, it's not how I visioned it, and it's not how I wanted it, and it's not. And then I found myself, years later, not putting stuff out there that I actually can help somebody with, and that actually can do well, and I'm not putting it out there. So I had to change my mind around what I was doing. And then I read an article about 1% better. And I found that it's so interesting, because that's all it takes. 1%. If every task I do, I put 1% better in, after 365 days or 1 year, I'm 365% better at that, right? So, and I haven't stressed myself out, but I've actually also got stuff out. Otherwise, like you say, procrastination is a killer. It's the biggest thing, and it's actually perfectionism is one of the biggest causes of procrastination. We think it's not right, or we think it's not what we need to put out there, or it's not how I want it, but we have to start. And it's even my worst stuff, and I'm still learning, there's still stuff that's terrible, but even my worst stuff that goes out, it has an impact. But it only has an impact because it's out there. It wouldn't have that impact if it wasn't out there. So I really encourage you to do, just focus on 1% better. So what did I do today that was 1% better in my normal tasks? And just my word for the year is deliberate. So I want to be deliberate about everything I do. And it's been my word for the year for the last 5 years, because I'm yet to master it. And I actually wrote an article on LinkedIn yesterday about it, just saying, that the power in the word deliberate. Just think about what you're doing and be deliberate about making it 1% better today. And then do the same tomorrow. And in the consistency of that, you will see amazing growth by the end of the year, and you won't be scared by it. And so, we do get caught in the trap of, I've got to redo all of this. Well, maybe it does need redoing, but it doesn't all need redoing right now. Just do one part of it. So every time, certain presentations I do like weekly, but every time I do them, I make change an element. And sometimes it's just updating the information. Other times it's adding a video. Other times, it's doing whatever. But it helps. And when you look back over the year, you'll be stunned at how much you can do. Good morning, Governor and Mardine, and I think it's Zinni. I don't know how to say that, sorry. Welcome, everybody. There's no Sunil this morning. Good morning. There's no Sunil this morning, so we're having a quick chat. I do want to share a screen, something I saw. I don't know if all of you saw that the stock for Facebook dropped so dramatically last night. Did you see that on the news? They lost like 25% of their market. They did a good old I would say peloton drop in the market last night. And the reason for that was that they lost users. They've lost over the last quarter massive amounts of users. And Mark Zuckerberg's not worried about it, but the market was worried about it. But they believe it'll bounce back. But the reason behind the lost users was that it was the younger generations. They're not interested in Facebook, and they're losing. It's not providing them with what they need, so they're losing the users on Facebook. Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger still grew, so that's fine. But the Facebook side of things, they lost users, and that's what caused that drop, which was quite interesting. So I wanted to show you a little breakdown, and I'm going to share my screen. You can just let me know if you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see.
So this is a social media by generation report. And what they're actually trying to tell you here is that there are differences in the generations, and we need to start paying attention to that depending on who we're trying to attract and talk to. I do a training session on generation blending in the workplace, and one of the things I'll talk to is that there are massive differences, but they actually complement each other in the workplace if we can work really well together. But an important thing to know is that 2025, so in 3 years or so, 75% of the workplace is going to be millennials and Gen Zs. So your baby boomers and your Gen Xers are starting to move out of the workplace, and the large amount of the workplace is going to be Gen Zs and millennials. This also means if you own a business, that 25% of the workplace, just this in your mind, is the 75% of your market. Okay, so let me say that right again. Not only are they 75% of the workplace in 3 years, but they're also 75% of your market in 3 years. They're the ones that are going to be earning the money. So we need to think about our businesses and how long we want to be there and who we're trying to target, and start adjusting what we're doing to fit the generations. Are we in the right space? Are we connecting in the right way? Are we doing the right things to them? I just want to see what's happening. Oh, shame. Michelle can't get her sound working. I wonder if she can hear us, and she's struggling on her side. Anyway, so looking at these, if you look at these graphs here, the top left-hand side says this is the percentage outside of China of those who visit the sites or the services at least once a day. The dark gray blocks are the baby boomers. The light gray is your Gen X's. The light pink is your millennials, and the dark pink or the cerise color is your Gen Zs. So it's quite interesting to have a look that you can see that there is far more usage on Facebook, for example, as an older generation person. And now we know that that amount is decreasing as a younger generation, and they're moving more onto TikTok and Snapchat and using WhatsApp and things like that to communicate. It's quite an interesting thing to watch because there's been quite a change there over the last few years. You can also see with targeted ads, the percentage of weekly users that have promoted an ad in the past. So the younger generations are promoting a lot online with their businesses. Okay. And you can have a look here and see what do they like in terms of how do we win them? What's the journey over? It's quite an interesting little graphic. But what I wanted to get across to you guys is that we need to start looking at who we're trying to target. Like Sunil always says, very niche specific when you're talking. And part of that niche is what age group am I talking to? Who am I looking at? And if you are targeting baby boomers, for example, then that's great. Then, you know, specifically only on Facebook maybe is a great option. If you're not, then you want to be on Facebook as well as on TikTok, okay, or something like that. So we need to be looking specifically at our business and what impacts it is having. If anybody wants this, I can email the link to you. In fact, I can put it in here in the chat for you and you can get it. It's just interesting to start getting our minds around actually understanding the different generations. So that's a long link.
Shari, could you quickly summarize the ages of the baby boomers and the Gen Z and the millennials, because that all confused me.
Sure. So is some variation depending on who you study. So there's about 5 years on either side, depending on who you study. When I study the generations and I talk about the generations, I use the Center for Generational Understanding. They're based in America and they've been doing this since the 40s. So they've got a pretty good understanding of all the different generations. And currently, for the first time in the history of the world, there's 5 generations in the workplace. And I mean, just think about your family and at home, and how much impact 3 generations in the workplace makes. And then, you know, just add another 2 into the workplace. There's a lot of differing opinions there. But you've got, at the oldest end, you've got the traditionalists. And the traditionalists are about now 75 to 93 or so. A lot of them are still in the workplace. And they have a lot of shareholder and board impact and, you know, trustee impact still on businesses. Then you've got your baby boomers that.
Sorry, what ages are the traditionalists?
75 to about 75 to 93.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then you've got your baby boomers, and they're about 56 or 57 to 75. Then you've got your Gen X's, the lost generation, the small generation, and they are your ones that are filling the gap from, say, about 43 up to the 56. And then you've got your millennials, and that's a very large generation, and it's actually split into two parts, the older millennials and the younger millennials, that exhibit quite different behavior. And they are from, at the moment, they are about 26 to 43. And then you've got your NZs, which are 25 and down to about 13. And then there's the new generation alphas that are 13 and younger at the moment. So they all, a generation is not defined by a number of years. It's not by 20 years or 30 years. It's defined by a common experience when they were coming of age. So coming of age is considered 15 to 25 years of age, when you're starting to form your opinions and decide who you are. And they wait till they're 25, and then they decide what the common shared experience would have been for that age group that impacted them. So, for example, your traditionalists, the common experience would have been World War II. That's what they lived through. With your baby boomers, they lived through all the social change, free love, you know, fighting for women's rights, women in the workplace, all those kinds of things. Your Gen X's lived through the fall of the Berlin Wall, the introduction of AIDS, you know, those kind of apartheid, those kind of things. Your millennials lived through the introduction of technology and how that changed society. And your Gen Zs are currently, they still haven't defined them fully because they're just turning 26 now, is probably going to be Corona is going to be their biggest influencing point. So yeah, it's very interesting, but it's important that we start thinking in our social media who we actually speaking to. Because what we tend to do is write for ourselves what we like or understand or how we perceive things to be. And we don't tend to think about, if I'm targeting a younger person, would they understand this? Is it how they want to receive the information? You know, do they want to receive it, you know, in another form? Probably via video is a good way, but you know, it's good to start thinking about those things. Cool. So if you can just follow that link and you can have a good study of what they've got so far in the generations and social media and see if that impacts. Maybe you're spot on, maybe you're not. Is there any questions from anybody about anything that I can answer? I'll try.
I just find it interesting of segmenting the audience or the market, because I can see now why things are the way, for example, my son does things in business to the way I do it is quite different, and I probably then work to generate my work is targeting people around my generation, which isn't necessarily the right thing. It's not, I need to change it. And that's something I'd never thought of before. So I found that fascinating. I really did. Thank you.
You're welcome. In my business, well, I've got two businesses, but in my business skills training business, I actually send out newsletters to two different age groups. The same information goes in there, but it goes in a different way. And I found that as soon as I segmented and changed that, I had so much more read of my newsletters than previously. And it was small changes. It was very, very simple, like keeping really short sentences as opposed to writing paragraphs. And so in the one, I write a paragraph, like I'm telling a story, like you would read a book. And the other one, I write just short sentences and put bullet points. And then the other, and I keep it really below 5 minutes. And I add a video, a little short clip at the end. The other one, I add a link for further reading, because that's, the generations that I'm dealing with, that's what they're wanting. And it doesn't take me time because I don't have to think up a new idea. It's already there. It's just the way I'm formatting it to send it out. that makes a big difference. And since I started doing that, I only started doing that sort of halfway through last year. But my reading and my opening and reading has gone from like 17% to 41%, which is like really good, much better than I was hoping for with that small change.
Never thought about it. So yeah, as I said, very, very useful.
Shari, with the WhatsApp marketing, or how to put your business out there on WhatsApp, I'm still not sure how to do that. And if you on the business account, and I want to use that more, but I'm not sure how to do that. Did Sunil cover that on Tuesday? I wasn't here on Tuesday, but I don't know if he covered that on Tuesday, or if we still were going to get to it.
He did talk about setting it up.
I must look back on that one.
Yeah, so it's important to set it up, and the most important function on your WhatsApp is to have your catalog set up. Mine currently is down because I'm redoing it. I'm changing quite a lot of how I approached it because I learned the lessons last year. But that catalog is actually what helps you. So the reply services are also awesome because it tells when the person says a message, it tells them straight away, you've reached, like for you, Wholehearted Living Coaching. I'm unavailable at the moment, but I will get back to you. But you can tell them whatever you want, please send me a message of what you're needing or whatever the case is. Or you can tell them, have a look at my catalog and see if anything suits you there. And they can go and do that. So I find the reply services for me important, and also the catalog. So the catalog shows I think you can put up to like 5,000 services or something on there, which is insane. 5,000 kind of links and pictures and things like that, which is really a lot. But you put your main services in with a good picture, they can click on it, they can get more information, and you can also put a link at the bottom that allows them to go further, like send them to your website or send them to book online or whatever the case is, or they can just message you. And those for me are the two things that work really well, because the answer service lets people know that I have an active business and that there is somebody at the end of the line and that they've got the right place if that's who they're looking for. And then I can send that catalog also, like at business meetings, there's a link for that catalog. So when I sit next to somebody at networking and they're interested in my services, get my business card, which is electronic, on there, and they get my catalog, and I just send them a link. And then they've got all my details and they can see that. You can also use that link to advertise in WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups or whatever, saying, hey, check out our catalog of services if you're looking for that. And I found those two things very helpful because it's like a little condensed electronic version of my website. And that's helpful. Yeah. So it's very user-friendly to set up. Literally, it takes you step by step. So if you go into the settings of your business, into your profile, into the settings, and you look, it tells you closing times, and it gives you the options, and it tells you whatever. You just follow how it says, and then it says, catalog, and it says select the picture, write about your service, and add the link. But my advice to you is think about what you want on there, okay? Prepare the pictures in the right size. An Instagram post size is a good size for that. Prepare your pictures to go with those services and prepare your links to go with that. Then go and set it up. Then it's a case of just cut and paste, and do that. You have WhatsApp on your computer?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's easier to do it that way. Because then you just take from your computer, you just drop, cut and paste, link, put the pictures in, and you can do that.
Fantastic.
I would advise using it. WhatsApp will eventually resort to adverts like Facebook messaging, where the adverts come at the bottom of your message stuff. That's what all the change last year was about, was that they were starting to, when everybody left WhatsApp and they were like great panic and whatever, because they've been taking our information, or they've been taking your information for years on Facebook. So why now all of a sudden are we worried? But what they were trying to do was tell you that in the future, what is going to come is targeted advertising at the bottom of WhatsApp, so that they can start making money out of WhatsApp, but that you can also advertise your business on WhatsApp.
Okay. And I basically stopped with the business side because I did see it asked about the catalogs, and then I was thrown because I thought, well, I don't have catalogs, but it's basically services then that you. So
and
my
break it
service
down,
will be-
because it builds it up. So it'll ask you for one picture. So you can have, one-on-one coaching, and you can make a little picture for that, and you can insert that, and then you can write, I do specialist one-on-one coaching, I don't know, about the entrepreneur's mindset and getting it right. Sessions are an hour, blah, 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 whatever. Here to
Okay.
book, or whatever the case is. And then you go to the next little blocky and you add another picture and you say, okay, I also do a group counseling, or whatever the case is. I don't know what you do. And you just add it step by step, and that builds your catalog. And you can go at any stage and add again or take away. You can even hide it for a period, a period of time if you want to.
Wow. Oh, that's excellent. Thank you.
Don't be afraid to explore. You can't go too wrong with it. Is that you're not going to mess, your phone up or anything like that. Just explore it a little bit, press the buttons and see what it does, because it is quite user friendly. It's quite easily done. It tells you what needs to be done. If you're stuck, go to the WhatsApp webpage. They tell you step by step.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Sorry, Adele, before you carry on, let me just say that security is an issue with WhatsApp and any other app you use. So I'm not being blasé when I say, well, they've been taking your information for years. They have. Facebook literally has, and WhatsApp belongs to Facebook. So it shouldn't be a shock to you. But what you must do is make sure that you go into every app that you have and check that you are happy with the privacy settings. Okay, please do that. It takes a little bit of time, and make sure that you do it. On the apps that have a two-step verification, please set it up, like Facebook and Instagram and things like that. Make sure it's there, that you are as safe as possible. And if you don't want them to track you in terms of advertising and stuff, when the app asks you, when you install it, can it track you across apps? You say, no, don't allow. That's what you do. You say, I don't allow it. If you want targeted advertising, then you can say allow. If you don't want that targeted advertising, you just want random adverts, then they don't allow. Then they're not collecting that information about you. But it really is up to every user to make sure that their privacy settings are set where they are comfortable, not where the company is comfortable. And obviously they set default at where the company gets the most information. Because that's helpful. In your business, it's helpful to know who looked at your website, what did they do, how long they spent. But if you're not comfortable with that information, then you need to set your privacy to more strict settings. So please do that for yourself. Sorry, Adele.
No, mine was a basic question, and I think was asked of Sunil when we spoke about WhatsApp for Business. Okay, because I don't own my business. I'm responsible for all the marketing, etc., for UKZN Press. So in terms of having a business WhatsApp, it wouldn't really benefit me. Am I correct or am I wrong?
It depends. Are you handling the sales of things? Where are people phoning to order? Are they?
It's a whole long, complicated chain of events. We have a book distributor in Cape Town, who they also have reps who call on in the Cape and in Gauteng, and then I'm responsible for KZN and the targeted email marketing. But no, so we do sell, but we don't sell off our website.
Okay.
If people want to buy books, we can either recommend which bookstore they go to or give them a link to order. And especially for the last 2 years, we haven't done much directly from our offices, but that's been an option as well. So yeah,
okay.
it's very...
So are you handling a lot of those directing of where to buy? Then I would say it's worth your while to have that on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Because you can put your current books up, and you can refer people to the catalog on there. They're already phoning you on that number, then you can just refer them to the catalogs on WhatsApp, and you can have in that description a link that sends them to where to order or where to buy in person.
Okay.
So you can say this book is only available in person to purchase at, and you put the address. And you can even put a little pin in there of, you know, how they can follow the pin, get to the bookstore or whatever the case is. Or this can only be bought online. So you follow this link and it takes them directly there. Or phone this person, buy this book. You could have like a little catalog of books that you could change regularly, you know, with the new ones coming in and the ones going out. But obviously, if you feel comfortable with that, because it's not your business, you don't necessarily have to do that. But it would be a helpful service if people are coming to you already for that. Yeah. Maybe you have a business WhatsApp. You have have another business cell phone, and you use that for that rather than your personal one. It depends on then that number becomes the communication number. They can chat to you on there. You can put the catalog up. You can say, check out the catalog for new, you can do a broadcast to all your contacts on that business cell phone saying, check out our new catalog. It's been updated, and people can go in there and look.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I know we did it on our website, but I don't think it reached everyone. I mean, our website. And
remember, you can send it also to your website. You can send them back to your website. It could be a link there for that, which is awesome. The nice part is that you can put all those links in, and you can send them where you like, to get them the information. You can even put like a link to a really interesting read or a review of a book that you saw. You can put that in. Hey, check out this review, and you can put it as part of this book, and this person wrote a review, check this out, and you can send them there. But again, like Sunil is telling us every day, it's about that engagement. Give them as many ways they can engage as possible. You have got to make it easy for that person to get you and get the information they want. The harder it is to get that information, the less likely you are to get them to buy or to engage or to whatever. With me, within 2 clicks, I'm bored, eh? I'm a millennial. I'm on the older end of the millennials, but I am a millennial. If I cannot get the information I want within 2 clicks, I'm not interested. I'll go to somewhere else. So it really is, and I'm quite a patient person. It's got nothing to do with patience. It's got to do with that information should be easily available to me. We're not making it easy. Somebody else is making it easy, so I'm going to go to them. Yeah. And that's ultimately what it is at the end of the day. But I would, because it'll give you more engagement.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to what you were saying about targeting. Who are you targeting? And presenting information in the way that they will read it or find it interesting or want to engage with it.
Remember, the one big thing that's changed in marketing in this world is that we can no longer market groups. Everybody wants to be treated like a person, valued as a person, and be personal in your marketing. So if you cannot any longer speak, these big brands, they struggle sometimes because they're used to speaking broadly to moms who need surf washing powder or whatever the case is. In this modern world, if they haven't adjusted, and some of them have done it very well, they've adjusted quite quickly, but others are still struggling. They haven't adjusted to making sure that it's not just talking to moms, that it's talking to, Adele, the mom, who's also a book publisher, who's also trying to do this, who's also doing this, and saying to Adele, but don't worry, our washing powder takes the dirt right out. You don't have to wash a second time. You don't have to think about it again. And we offer you this free video on how to do this. You understand? More personalized, more targeted towards me, then you will start getting the people to engage with that and interact with that. And the cherry on the cake is that if you start being really targeted and specific, suddenly there's more Adeles, out there, busy moms who need to only wash once and not think about it again. Or I'm just using a random example. But suddenly they're like, I feel the same. And if you can engage on that level, that's what you're getting, that engagement, and you're building that engagement, and it becomes like an avalanche. And then it suddenly starts spreading out. And then you can, like I do 2 newsletters now because it engages people better. And it doesn't take me any longer because I'm not changing the topic. The topic I've chosen to speak about or talk about or whatever is still the same, but I'm just learning to do it in different ways. And then when I learn something more, then I can engage with other people on that same topic in a different way. And that just avalanches the effect. So it's important to think about, like Sunil says, who are we talking to and how are we getting that engagement? And I think WhatsApp allows you good engagement. People can talking to a person, not a bot.
Yeah.
There's one thing that kills me, and I don't know, I'm with Vodacom for my cell phone and my fiber and everything like that, purely because they had the better deals, not because their service is great. But one thing that frustrates me is this little bot that is computerized, that is supposed to answer your questions and cannot answer the questions. Every time I ask a question, I come from a generation that thinks like that, right? Okay, so I know I'm not asking an obscure question. I'm asking very simply, I want my account or whatever. It says, I don't know that answer, I'm new, or that's not the way I hear it, or whatever. So you spend 15 minutes trying to put into the bot and you get frustrated, and eventually I don't do anything about it, right? Okay, I just like, you're not getting any further service from me, I'm done, right? And that's on WhatsApp, I get a direct answer. Or Facebook Messenger, there might be an automatic response initially. There's a person that's actually going to understand my question and answer me, I can actually interact with. And that makes it more personal.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, again, I remember a while ago that on our Facebook page did an auto response. Thank you for your message. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. I can't remember what it was. And you could just almost feel that people go like that, oh, okay, someone's there. But it's interesting. And again, it's going back to age group things. And I mean, I'm probably in a similar age group to some colleagues, but they don't understand, maybe it's a marketing thing, they understand the importance of personalizing emails, for example. I had a huge discussion with a younger member of staff because we're not using something like MailChimp. And I asked her to please change our databases to be, yes, that you can use them in. Do you know how many years that will take me? And I thought, okay, no, it won't, but yeah.
It'll take you one click if it's on Excel. It uploads it.
Exactly. That's exactly where it is. Anyway, so sorry everyone, I'm just giving my personal story here. Everyone probably needs to get to work. But yeah, there was a new mailing list that I wanted to set up, a new database, and I set it up for MailChimp. But it's so easy. And I know it made her life easier, person who does all the sending, but she wouldn't acknowledge it. But I know that it did.
It's okay. You made a win for the better, and it doesn't matter if there's acknowledgement or not. Go forward.
True.
Is there
everyone else a chance? I was giving everyone else a chance now.
Is there anybody else that has any question that I can perhaps help you with, or before we send you on to enjoy your Friday?
Good morning, everybody. I don't have a question as such. Just some crazy facts. Last night I was watching Bloomberg TV, Bloomberg News, and Facebook, or Meta as they call it now, they posted their results the day before. Facebook lost, I think, in the region of $250 billion in one day. Mark Zuckerberg, because the shares dropped, Mark Zuckerberg, his personal wealth dropped by about $25 billion. And he had to have a meeting with his staff because lots of their remuneration is linked to shares. And his sort of response is that they are battling against the likes of TikTok. You see, and people are leaving Facebook in thousands or hundreds of thousands. So that's just something that we need to be aware of and maybe on the lookout for, because Facebook in its current form, it's not going to be like that anymore. They're going to make some drastic changes. It was just scary that, and that was the biggest drop in the history of the New York Stock Exchange. In a single day. So
you were missing earlier Thanks, Anthony, for sharing. You were missing earlier. We actually had a conversation about it. That's how we started our morning.
Oh, sorry about that.
Talking about, no, it's perfect. It is important to take note of, and I'm glad you saw it. And that's how we started the conversation about the generations, because Facebook is not meeting the needs of the younger generations. And so if you want to meet your needs, you need to be somewhere else at the moment for meeting that need. I'm not saying go off Facebook. It's still the best place to advertise, because it owns so many platforms. But I am saying consider where you're putting your stuff and how you're putting your stuff. Thanks, Anthony. It was a huge shocker. And you know what, the interesting thing was that 200 billion that they lost in that one day was 25% of their earnings, but it was only related to 500,000 people leaving, 500,000. Yeah. It wasn't related to millions and millions and millions. It was only 500,000 people. So you can see what a big impact 500,000 makes when they go somewhere else to business as a whole. Thanks for sharing, Anthony.
Yeah, I think what came out there was that Facebook is not well equipped for videos, short videos, even though they have a competitor product, but it's not as good as TikTok. And even just something that I found interesting is the guys from Bloomberg, the three presenters, probably in the age group of 40 to 60. And all three of them said, Facebook, what's Facebook? We're not on Facebook. You know, and just shows that generation, and maybe it's an overseas thing, but that sort of generation is moving away from Facebook.
Well, the younger generations are definitely leaving. It's not fast enough. It's not short enough. It's not interactive enough. And there's too much, how do I put this nicely, rubbish that comes through, you know, too much targeted advertising, too much sponsored posts and things that come through into your feeds. It's lost its social connectedness in a way. And the younger generation doesn't like that. The other side of that is that the changes that are coming, and they're happening quite quickly on Facebook, and have been happening, the older generations are not keeping up with that. And so they're not even also staying on Facebook a lot. But it does give us cause for thought. You know, with all the social media stuff, it's great to have so many likes and so many followers and stuff, but you need to have a point where you can engage with those people outside of social media. Okay, which is one of the reasons why Sunil always tells you start collecting emails and email addresses and have a relationship with them via email or telephone number, you know, WhatsApp, so that if social media does change dramatically and people leave, or if they're down for a day, look what happened last year when YouTube was down for 7 hours. It was chaos for so many businesses and so many creators and things that earn their money off of those platforms. And what it taught us, though, was that you need to have a way to access your potential clients outside of social media too. Social media is easy, but it's not always going to be the same, and it's not always going to be around, you know, in the way you know and understand, to help your customers. Whereas if you have a phone number or an email, there's a way to contact them and keep in contact with them, even if something goes wrong. But please don't only build your social media. Build your social media, it's powerful, it helps your business, it grows your business. But if something happens, what's your backup plan? Keep in contact with those people. And that's where I like things, you know, like having a phone number, having an email address, things where I can, you know, still keep engaged with people, or say, hey, you know, we've moved, at least I can send an email or WhatsApp and say, we've moved from Facebook and we're now on YouTube or whatever, find us there, whatever the circumstance, we don't know. So please think a little bit further about, you know, keeping engagement and records, even if they're not online.
You're 100% right. You need to have multiple points of engagement. And also with regards to the younger generation leaving, I remember probably about 3 years ago, my daughter's 24, but about 3 years ago, you know, asked, but why, you know, you have a Facebook profile, why, you know, you don't post anything and stuff. And she said, no, we don't use Facebook. And then I thought, no, this child just doesn't want to be on Facebook, but you know, it's a generational thing.
Yeah. I have numerous nieces and nephews, none of them are on Facebook. All of them under 23, 24, none of them are on Facebook.
Yeah.
If I want to see what's happening in their life, I have to go to Instagram or WhatsApp them. It's not a Facebook thing. Anyway, but Facebook is still the strongest and most powerful advertising tool for businesses. So it's still a space to build there, but don't keep it only in one point, is my advice to you today. Please think about where you're engaging with people and how you're engaging with them and how you're going to keep that engagement if there was no Facebook tomorrow, for example. Even if it's only for a week, it can do massive damage to businesses being down for a small amount of time. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for sharing. You're spot on.
Sure, my pleasure. It's just, I think because of that huge loss that they suffered, there's going to be some major changes and probably quite fast that they're going to roll out these changes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They will have to, I think. We're going to have to keep ahead of these changes, keep watching what's happening. Anybody else got a question or something they're confused about or something they want to share before we leave?
One quick question is, again, I'm showing my age. I thought TikTok was just purely fun skits kind of, because that's how it started. And for me, I find it quite difficult to take it seriously as in terms of marketing or showing a product or showing what services. And again, I know it's just a mindset, but it's taking me a while and something I have to learn, I suppose. I don't know.
So TikTok is all about being entertaining. Absolutely.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean you can't educate in an entertaining way, and you'll find people doing that very, very well. I always use the example of Nando's. All of us can remember a Nando's ad at least, right? Okay. They were always entertaining, but in that entertainment, they tackled really real harsh issues, didn't they? Okay,
Yeah.
we can remember them for tackling the difficult issues about South Africa at the time, whether it be load shedding or politics or whatever it was. They tackled it, it was amusing, and we remember the brand. So TikTok is kind of like that. We can do the hard stuff in an entertaining way and in a short way and get our message through on TikTok. And that's the way the younger guys like it. If I only have to watch a 1 minute video to get the point through, I'd prefer that. But you can go onto TikTok and you'll find psychologists and guys doing the facts. They do it in a lively kind of way, like they're not monotone-ish and stuff, and it's short, so you get the little bite of information and you move on. I mean, I think your books and stuff would be ideal on TikTok. Have you read this? It's about this and it does that and stuff. In fact, I follow somebody on TikTok that does book reviews. And they're awesome.
Okay, great. Good to know.
So it is just about changing my mind. It's not that I'm not changing the information, I'm changing how I'm giving the information. Is it shorter, more succinct, more entertaining? Is it thoughtful and deep, like an article on LinkedIn? What is it? How am I? So the same information, but I can use it in different ways across different platforms. And not everything in life has to be serious. We've got so much serious stuff that I don't go on to TikTok. I learn serious things, but I don't go on there to be serious. I go on there to look at somebody dance badly and tell me a fact, or look at somebody, whatever it is. So it's actually really a lot of the very successful creators on TikTok. They're actually incredible creators. They just it's they just find a way to get really good information across well. There's still just a lot of dancing and stuff, but it depends on what to watch.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right, everybody, I think that you've had enough for a Friday, and Sunil will hopefully be back with you tomorrow. I'm sure he will be, and I wish you an awesome Friday, and I hope that you get to be 1% better in your social media posts today, and that you send out something awesome. And take care.
Thanks, Shari. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.